Hello and welcome to SnowRunner, where we have a job to do. Electric atmosphere. We gotta take these metal beams all the way up here, metal rolls to turn them into metal beams, and then we have to deliver them all the way to right here. Now, I don't normally take this path. It's meant as a bypass if you haven't cleared the rock slide here. I may take it just to show it off for one of the deliveries. Because this area looks like a safe place to cut through the floors, but for those of you who have played this game, you know that isn't exactly true. So I thought I'd show it off, and the reason I'm just doing two at a time is so I can go up this road, because otherwise, let's just say it's a pain to get up here with the trailer. And so you're potentially cutting through this area. You've got some deep snow. You got a perfectly placed tree that I wish wasn't there, so that's going to throw you either down into here, or what I've discovered is this way is kind of actually a doable way, and I'd always recommend it over going through here. I just recently discovered that. And I haven't done this rock slide because technically the trailer way you're supposed to take is come down through here, or come through the trees if you can't handle the deep mud, and then come up and around like this. But I haven't done that yet, so I'm not gonna show all of it, and there'll probably be some jump cuts, but we'll start here and hopefully not kick things off by blowing out a tire. I wish they'd either blur these into the ground or just delete these concrete slabs. It would be so much easier. Anyway, so here we go. Okay, getting stuck here was not part of the plan. Also, this is somewhat annoying given that I actually went through the trouble to clear the rock slide blocking this path and still had a problem. That rock, right there to my driver's side door, wasn't there. We'd be out and on our way. Also, you saw that ice. Do not try that without change. That's the only reason I did that, and then just drop down onto the ice to drive around, which is what you do before you clear the rock slide, and it looks like it's also what you should do after. There isn't really a place to... Well, this wouldn't be a SnowRunner video without something going wrong. And here I thought it was just gonna, just 3 easy loads back and forth, and I'll record all of it in case something happens, but we'll just cut and only show the route once not to waste people's time. And then this happens. This game sometimes. to say, though, the fact that the fans struggled there actually is kind of a good thing. It means they've kind of hit that, they understand how to balance, although you could argue the thing that makes the 605R unbalanced is how good coated its tires are. But I mean, it's kind of a testament that even here in Amur, the fans actually having a little bit of a struggle, which I find rather interesting. And kind of enjoy it because I play SnowRunner to be challenged by the terrain, so I enjoy trucks that, while they're capable, it isn't an I win button against the map we're on. At this rate, I may just bring the 605 over to fuel transfer this and take the long way around, so I don't have to make 3 trips, and I'll just do 1 trip with the Tag and 1 trip with this, since I've got it over here now. tree stump with some of the tree left on top of it right by my wheel. I believe that was purposely put there so you couldn't drag trailers up this road easily. You can kind of wiggle your way through at an angle through the trees to the right, but I wouldn't recommend that with anything longer than one of the pullable 2 slots. Or at least trying that, but that's clearly there, so you wouldn't try to force your way up this road with a semi-trail. Which is not recommended. Anyway, I just thought I'd point out the tree I was referencing. That's supposed to mean that you can. And there's another place up here where you may have a little bit of a problem. Because I'm probably driving on what best could be described as a scout for class vehicle only. And you're only supposed to go up here to get the watchtower, and then once you get the watchtower, you come down. And I suppose going downhill, even potentially with some of the smaller trucks like the Tega, here come down with supplies. But yeah, I'm kind of pushing it here. Let's just put it that way. And I was hoping I could actually at least make it up here before my fuel ran out, but it looks like this is where we're going to have to call it, so due to, well, life and me just overlooking something really, well, that would have been useful not to forget about. See those two trucks? Yeah. My first thought was, let's use the Zig 605R as a refueling thing. Then, SnowRunner happened, as in, this current is very powerful. I didn't realize how much power. And so then I made some money, brought in the International Pace Star as a rescue attempt, only to roll it on a rock. And then I'm thinking, okay, what am I gonna do? And so I just started earning money in another region. I've been playing a little bit of Quebec and Maine just to have some fun. And actually play Quebec for the first time. And so, and this truck, the F-750, made it to about right here before running out of fuel. And so I'm doing all this, and I finally get the money, and I'm like, do I spend 5,000 recovering the Pace Star instead of 8 for the Zigs? And then all of a sudden I remember, hey, you have the ER-87 on the other map. You can just use it to shuttle fuel over here so we can finish recording this video. And if I had just remembered that, this video would have been out last weekend. But I didn't. And even though I didn't want to drive the FEM, all the way over to where the 6 is, given that it's either that or $5,000 recovery bill minimum, if not $8,000, if not $13,000 for both trucks, I think we're driving the FEM over with some fuel to save those trucks. And then I'll just swallow the fuel cost driving back to get the beans. Or I could just run the Tega through some chunks. But anyway, in case you're wondering why we didn't get a video last weekend, that's why in the week before that my uncle was from out of town for Memorial Day, and so things just didn't happen, and that's why I'm getting a video this weekend. Anyway, so let's get this load of metal beams delivered. And here, the nice thing about the Tega is it's narrow enough that I can cut up through these trees and completely avoid the mud doom area. Also want to point out, even though it's not an option for the Tega because of its low ground clearance, if I was running the top tire size on this with raised suspension, maybe, but there actually is a little crossing point right here, so you can come down here and kind of cut across right here. This is another area to know about it. I just need to go over here and pick this up, and all you have to do with this truck is bring it here and it's yours. I didn't know that when I got the game the first time, so I actually bought a Con Sentinel since it's unlocked from the beginning, interestingly enough. Doesn't make you complete this to unlock additional one of them, only to find this later and go, oh, oops. And yeah, here's the path. It looks fine here. It isn't. Maybe at some point I'll show this, maybe not. Just know that this is a nightmare that you probably should avoid. So, I guess this is where we're going to call it, and I guess the game devs were ready for you to try something like this, and I probably should have tried the other side of this valley. If it wasn't for this branch, actually I may be able to go up and over. It looks like there's enough of a gap in the trees. This is where we're going to cut it. Thank you for watching.